So thank you very much, guys, for coming out to the improv show tonight. It's good because I like doing these improv shows every week. I've been doing them for about a year and a half now, and it's a tradition in my life. It's a tradition that I like. It's similar to a tradition that I used to have weekly in my life. It's got similar amounts of alcohol if you know how to play your cards right. It was called church. I learned very early as a 7-year-old to take big gulps if I wanted to leave church with a good buzz. No, dude, I did go to church quite frequently growing up. I was in a Roman Catholic church, which has little to do with the Romans if you're a 7-year-old in New Brunswick. That might make it more exciting though. Yes, I was in Roman Catholic church, and I went every week, and it wasn't very exciting. As a lot of you probably know if you've been to a wedding, if you just attended a mass. It's not super exciting, which is a shame because I expect that because they put all the effort into it and the clothes and the terrible sexual advice, they must really want you to be invested in it. The Catholic Church must really care about people being interested in it and people attending. Now, they knew this back in the 1960s. This is going to get a little factual because that's just the way that I am. I'm going to teach you guys a thing. In the 1960s, the Catholic Church did a thing called the Second Vatican Council, or Vatican II if you wanted to sound like a Zeppelin album. So they realized that a lot of people, they weren't really invested in the church because all the masses were in Latin. The clergy, the priests, deacons, that's a word you only know if you actually win. They do the mass in Latin, and so the average person, like my French, Irish ancestors, didn't understand Latin because that required time, I guess. And there were potatoes to be farmed, and coal to be dug into the ground. So in the 1960s, the church decided, hey, we should start doing church in the language that people speak so they can understand what we're talking about. So they get the whole Jesus, salvation, live, whatever situation. I'm not going to belabor you with that. Which, at the time seemed like a good idea. But I would argue that as of today, I think they should go back to Latin. And here's why. Now, people say that Latin is a dead language. And I understand that because all the diseases that kill all your relatives are named in Latin. Syphilis could have been a gladiator. Syphilis probably was a gladiator. And he probably had syphilis. But, yeah, it should be in Latin again. And because, think about today. Like, who saw Batman, like the Avengers? Who's watched Game of Thrones just by, like if you want to get children interested in Catholicism, which sounds impossible, then why don't you just tell your kid that he can go to this castle where there's a wizard speaking to him in like dragon language. That's what Latin sounds like to a child. It sounds like I was talking to my girlfriend's mother actually about this. She was terrified of church before Vatican II. The album. Because it was like little gremlins. It's mostly old, wrinkled men in the clergy. And they were always speaking this foreign language. But where that was terrifying to children in a pre-Game of Thrones, Skyrim, World of Warcraft world, that's actually super exciting these days. So I think we should go back to that. And I would actually maybe consider dropping atheism if that were the case. I was having dinner with my girlfriend's family a couple weeks ago, and we were having a religious conversation, which is always a conversation you want to have with your girlfriend's family. My kids are not very well, so don't worry. And they said something like something, that's why we didn't get married in the church. So I was like listening politely, as you do. And then to which her mother responded, "No! We did that because we blew all the money on booze and fireworks." Now, I'm not one to disrespect my elders, I'm not one to call people out, and I don't like to think of myself as a grammar Nazi, but I was like, Lynn, I think you misused the verb blew. I think you should have said, used appropriately. We used appropriately all the money on booze and fireworks. So ideally, going well, if you find a woman that you're willing to wait for, you know, I'm not talking about sexual intercourse. I'm talking about waiting for her to catch up with you in Breaking Bad. That is compelling. I used to, like Scott, I moved to Southern Ontario and then progressively. We're very similar in that regard. I would constantly television cheat on her, which was not cheating, but it was, oh, we're watching this show together. And when she was at work, I would watch the show because I couldn't wait. I had no self-control. I would watch the show, and then when she would come home, I would watch the same episode with her, and because I'm an improviser, pretend like I hadn't seen it. A lot.